So, hey guys, today we're going to be looking over all of the new cards and seeing what they do. So, first off, we have Virar Valmonican Concord. So, I think this is probably the only Valmonica card here, which is very awkward if so. Let's check real quick. Primite. No, we have one more Valmonica card here. Counter Trap. Okay. Wait, what's this? You can banish this card from your graveyard, shuffle into the deck, Valmonica cards from your face-up extra deck, graveyard, and or bashment, except for Valmonica, Hereditaire, up to the number of resonance counters on your field, and then you can draw one card for every 3 cards shuffled. That's a lot of cards to shuffle back, so it's probably not going to be that many draws. I don't think Valmonica can combo that hard, so that's something, but alright. Horar Valmonican Concord, Link 2, 3k, monster requires simply a Valmonica Link monster. So you would have to make the Link one first before making this, which is a little weird. But okay. Unaffected by card effects except for Valmonica cards while you have 6 or more resonance counters on your field. I'm not really sure if any Valmonica cards really interact with their monsters. I don't recall this at all. Except for maybe like a protection effect. Gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase for each level 4 Valmonica monster you control. So if I had performed a pendulum summon, I could maybe control like 2-3, and then this would be able to attack 3 times. I'm not sure if that matters because the other card already performs some sort of lethal, right? Let's see. This card is link summoned, yada yada. This card can make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase this turn. Yeah, this. And then doesn't this have another effects as well? Target monsters your opponent controls up to the number of resonance counters in your pendulum zone, destroy them. That doesn't remove counters. So I guess you would technically do both, I think, of these effects, and then maybe a pendulum summon after for lethal. I don't even know if that's like efficient or anything, but you know, that's something. And then we have soft once per turn. There's no hard once per turn on these cards, are there? Might have to double check that, but alright. Soft once per turn. When your opponent would special summon a monster, if you have 3+ resonance counters on your field quick effect, you can negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy that monster or monsters, then remove 3 resonance counters from your field. So this says when your opponent would special summon a monster. So this only works on inherent summons, which is weird. So if I were to activate like a branded fusion, this would not interact with branded fusion. This would not respond to like Albion or Mirror Jade, so that's not good in that regard, I guess. Number C32, Shark Drake Levice. You can also XYZ summon this card by discarding 1 spell and using a rank 4 Shark Drake XYZ monster you control as material, transfer its materials to this card. Otherwise, you would need 4 level 5 monsters. Yeah. Artifacts. That's like probably the only level 5 archetype anyone can think of, for the most part. That would take like nearly a whole field of artifacts to just hard make. So yeah, this probably is never happening. I guess you could maybe rank up into this as well. Who knows? Wait, this is a chaos number. Yeah, you could rank up into this, I guess. Once per turn, soft once per turn. You can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and if you do, its attack/defense becomes 0. So the order matters here because there are cards that make the attack or defense or whatever become 0 and then negate, like Mayakashi Link 4, which is just another irritating thing about that card. So glad to see this doesn't have to deal with that, I guess, right? So far it just looks like 1 negate for the most part. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. Also, if it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. So you're telling me this beats Crooked Cook now as well. Just alright. If this card is special summon, you can add 1 Virtue Stream from your deck to your hand. This is not a rank 4 Shark Drake, but okay. You can activate 1 of these effects, detach 1 material from a monster you control, then add a fish, sea serpent, or 1 aqua monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for La Virtue Dragon. Because of the sequencing of this, how does this work exactly? if I have no monsters like that meet this criteria in my graveyard, can I activate the effect to detach? Like, I don't know. Target 2 XYZ monsters on the field, attach one material from one of those monsters to the other. That's kind of neat, honestly, just in general. And then what is Virtue Stream? Crap. Target a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So this is basically Sword Soul Blackout, I guess. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field. If it is a water monster, the next time it would be destroyed by card effects. This turn it is not destroyed. If it is not, it becomes water. Ah, strange. Why would I... Wait, that's any monster, right? Oh, that's somewhat useful against, like, Fiendsmith then, so... You could change something's attribute, so it's not a light anymore, so you can't make, what's his face? You can't make Requiem. So that's something for sure, I guess. Not sure how you're making Love Virtue, though. Centurion Primera Primus cannot be destroyed by battle unless it was special summoned from the extra deck, so this would need to be special summoned from the graveyard to be not destructible, okay? You can only use each of the following effects of Centurion Primera Primus once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add one emblem card from your deck or graveyard to your hand, then you can destroy 2 cards, one on each field. Wait. You're not actually destroying anything because, if we, I believe, maybe, actually no. The field spell is only protected from, your opponent's effects, right? No, yeah, it is your opponent's cards. So if you have Auxilla, face-up cards in your spell and trap zones cannot be destroyed by card effects. So I think you're supposed to combo that effect with maybe something like an Auxilla, so whatever your card is not destroyed, or maybe like if it's the stand-up Centurion, it would be after we used it because you replace this card anyways, because a lot of the time you search that off of Primera on your opponent's turn, so that makes sense, I guess. If a face-up Centurion card you control leaves the field by opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card. Special summoning this doesn't really do anything, it's just annoying because it can't be destroyed by battle, I guess. So that's about all that effect does. I guess, right? Nothing super interesting here. Memento Miklan Tekudlika Creation King. So 3 Memento monsters. You would banish this card from your graveyard to add 1 Memento Miklan from your deck to your hand. You cannot activate the following effects of Memento Miklan Tekudlika Creation King in the same chain. You cannot activate its own effect in the same chain. Okay. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send 3 memento cards from your deck and or extra deck to the graveyard. Quick effect. You can target an equal number of memento monsters you control and cards your opponent controls, destroy them. And then banish this card from your graveyard to add a Memento Miklan from your deck to your hand. Memento Miklan is the field spell, right? Yeah. So it just searches that. That's kind of useful, I guess, in general. What else, though? So this sends 3 memento cards from your deck. So this can send, technically, I guess, the Gaddick plus a target for Gaddick to add back, and then something else. Which is kind of interesting, I guess. I'm not really sure what that will do for you, necessarily. But then Memento Miklan as well. How do I get this into the graveyard? You can only use each effect card once per turn. Yeah, I don't quite get this card. I think there was another new card paired with this. Sleepy. Okay. Necroquip Princess. 1 monster equipped with a monster card plus a fiend monster card. Must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from your hand and or field to the graveyard. You can only control 1 Necroquip Princess. If a monster is sent from the hand to the graveyard to activate a card or effect, you can activate one of these effects. Draw a card, or equip one of those monsters to this card as an equip spell that gives it 500 attack. Wait, what? That applies... Wait, does this effect actually do something? This triggers whenever any player does this. So if we send Ash Blossom Joyous spring, for example, we could draw a card with Necroquip. Right? Oh, hmm. That's weird. So if Necroquip is on the field and someone drops Ash, you get a draw, I guess? The Quip effect. I don't really know if there's anything like worth equipping off of this. But yeah, I guess you could technically equip an engraver, maybe? And that would be like potentially moderately annoying. But I mean, it probably won't remain on the field, so whatever. Momentotlin Sleepy. During the turn, a monster or monsters in your possession was destroyed by a card effect. Quick effect, you and special summon this card from your hand. Oh, so this is any time after that condition is met. Alright. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can fusion summon a Memento Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either your hand or field. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one Memento card from your deck to the graveyard, except for Momentotlin Sleepy. This has to fusion summon a Memento. So that means we're probably going to need to run 2 Creation King. That's the impression I'm getting. Unless you recycle the Creation King, but it banishes itself from the graveyard, and you can't put it back from there. So my assumption here is that you're going to potentially have this as interruption for next turn as well, so we can essentially make our Guardian Chimera at home over here. That's one usage, I guess. The other thing is we can probably make this on the first turn and also make the Twin Dragon, I guess, with the Sleepy. If we were to just special summon Sleepy, it doesn't do anything, but if you change the targets you add off of the Twin Dragon, I can see this like maybe getting somewhere. Alright, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send a Memento card from your deck to the graveyard except for Sleepy. Alright. I'm sure that there's something about this. Thea, the Primal Being. During the main phase quick effect, you contribute monsters whose total levels equal 11 or more, special summon this card from your hand. Then if you control no other monsters, you can destroy one monster on the field with the highest attack of your choice if tied. You can only use this effect of Thea, the Primal Being once per turn. Neither player can normal and or special summon more than 4 times per turn while this card is face up in the monster zone. So this card, I feel like this could be moderately annoying. So just imagine I Bestial twice. I then maybe, let's see, tribute them both. And then we get a pop with Thea, and then you're also kind of winded. So if you summoned a certain amount of times, then well, it depends exactly how many times you summoned, then you wouldn't be able to summon anymore after this. That's kind of interesting. But also, like, that by itself is like a 3-card combo. So it's like not great. This tributes monsters on field, right? I guess it has to be on field. Yeah. Unless it can tribute from hand, I'm not really sure about the rulings for this, so that's yeah. If this card is used for the XYZ summon of a water monster, it can be treated as a level 3 or 5 monster. You can only use each of the following effects of surfacing Big Jaws once per turn. During your main phase, if a spell card was activated this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except for XYZ monsters, so it's not as bad as like a Branded Fusion, but alright. This card is normal or special summon. You can add a fish shark monster from your deck to your hand. I'm not 100% sure what all targets for this are necessarily, but that should be a 1-card combo at least, right? We could add, for example, Buzzsaw Shark, normal summon Buzzsaw Shark. We can add the extender like Crystal Shark, and that should be able to do some stuff. Alright. And this counts as a level 3, 4, and 5, which is pretty interesting. This requires a spell card to be activated though, which I don't completely see how or when you would do that necessarily. I don't know if, well, when you would use this. You do have to special summon this? I guess you don't have to special, you could also just normal summon this. You have the ability to grab a spell from somewhere. I guess with the XYZ armored stuff, the equip spell is technically usable for this condition, at least, right? Primite Imperial Dragon cannot be normal summoned except by attributing a normal monster, but can be normal set. During your opponent's main phase quick effect, you can reveal this card in your hand. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon a Primite monster, so probably itself, I guess. You can only use this effect of Primite Imperial Dragon once per turn. If this card is tribute summoned, you apply these effects in sequence. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls, so that's decent, I guess. Banish all monsters your opponent controls with the same type or attribute as a normal monster in your graveyard. That is kind of weird, but you could get like decent coverage with this. Let's say we care about Tenpai, we can choose our normal monster in this case that we're tributing. We can make it a Fire Fiend. If we do Fire Fiend, then we could also use this to technically banish like uh, Fiendsmith cards, right? So that's like some coverage, and it would also be able to banish like Snake Eye cards. Wouldn't be able to banish like Diabell Star, but that's kind of neat to think about, I guess. Primate Dragon, Ether Burl. These cards are all yours. I just, yeah, noticing that. But we'll see if all of the good cards are yours once again. If this card is normal summoned, you can set a Primite spell trap from your deck. You can only use each of the following effects of a Primite Dragon Ether Burl once per turn. You contribute this card, send one normal monster from your deck to the graveyard. During your standby phase, if you have a normal monster in your field or graveyard, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. So this effect doesn't seem that useful. To send a normal monster from your deck to the graveyard, that would only be to add back the Ether Burl, I guess. That's all that really does, as far as I can tell. For the time being, I guess. And then we have Primite Lordly Load. Wait. Only one old UR here. Anyway. When this card is activated, you can add a Primite card from your deck to your hand, except for Primite Lordly Load. You can declare one normal monster card name special, summon one declared normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard in defense position. Also, you cannot activate the effects of special summon monsters on the field this turn, so you could still activate normal summon monsters effects, I guess, if they are effect monsters, but if you activate a special summoned effect monsters effect with Lordly Load, you won't be able to do the middle effect there. Alright. And then you have this weird attack gain effect. Normal monsters and primate monsters you control gain 300 attack for each normal monster with different names in your graveyard. Is there a reason you would be playing that many normal monsters? I don't think there are that many decks that do that, but alright. Zapper Shrimp. If this card is special summoned, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one spell trap your opponent controls, destroy it. Wait, what? Wait, this can send from field or hand. And that could possibly trigger something else. Potentially. It's a little weird. And this happens on special summon. Alright, once per chain during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. Is there a card that special summons this back as well? Wait, yeah, there is. Because you should be able to use the Assault Dragon or whatever it's called. The guy with the quick effect to special summon Stardust Dragon and perform like a synchro summon. That guy actually has the effect to special summon back a level something, like I think it was like level 2 or lower, or level 2 exactly tuner back from the graveyard, and that should Zapper Shrimp should meet those conditions, and then you'd be able to bring it back. But which is interesting, I guess. Then we have Mind Castlin. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, switch control of that monster and this card. If this synchro summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster on each field, switch control of those monsters. This effect seems like it could be potentially very annoying, depending on like what you might give your opponent, because that's also an issue. Just like worst case scenario, I guess. Technically, I guess we could send Mind Castlin and then give our opponent an Edo in exchange for whatever they normal summoned, right? Just like as an idea, but otherwise, you would need some kind of quick synchro type effect or something like that, or just something that just sends this normally. I guess instead of quick synchro, we could just activate like Revenge Droplet. That would also trigger this, I guess. Just anything to put into the graveyard, I guess. It doesn't have to be used as synchro material. So maybe there's a usage for this card. Kinda weird though. Eos Varog, the Mechanical Dawn. 2 light machine monsters. If this card is Fusion Zone, you can activate this effect during the standby phase of the next turn. Add 1 card from your graveyard to your hand with an effect that Fusion summons a monster or monsters. So that would probably add back whatever you use to summon this. When your opponent activates a spell trap card or effect, quick effect, you can bash 1 face-up light machine monster you control, or 2 light machine monsters from your graveyard to negate the activation. So it can finish itself, I guess, for this. It has no attack points. Weird. But it's a potential, like, spell trap negate. Hmm. There might be a way to make this. We'll see, I guess. Centurion Atri. If this card you control would be used as synchro material, you can treat it as a non-tuner. You can only use each of the following effects of Centurion Atri once per turn. This card is normal or special summoned, and you have both an Emblema card and a Centurion card. In your graveyard, you can draw 1 card. Also, you cannot special summon Atri for the rest of this turn. During the main phase, if this card is a continuous trap, you can special summon this card. So I guess this just gives Centurion 1 more tuner. So that's something. Alright, next. Drake Shark. A Shark Drake XYZ monster that has this card as material gains this effect. Shark Drake. What? The hell's a Shark Drake? I guess this is a Shark Drake, but okay. You can't really make that easily. It just needs to have this card as material. It doesn't need to be made with it. They kind of changed that around. Like, some of the older cards require you to make card instead of just, well, like with this thing as material, instead of just having it like attached. Which I mean, kind of both things have some interesting aspects to them. Like, for example, if you can attach them after, you could also forcibly detach those to make the card lose their effect. Like, little things like that. But alright. Soft once per turn. You can detach 2 materials from this card, then target 1 spell trap on the field. Attach it to this card as material. You can only use each of the following effects of Drake Shark once per turn. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon this card. Oh boy, another one of these cards. And aside from that, this card does... It looks like nothing really. Okay, this card can be treated as 2 materials for the XYZ summon of a water XYZ monster that requires 3 or more materials. That is something I've never seen before. That's weird. I have no idea what this is making still though. But alright, I guess. This effect... Not really sure what you can do with this. Guess we could, if we were to combine Lavirtuo's effect, we could technically move the material, so we could move this to a different monster to give it the effect for the backer removal as well. So that's something. Armored Shark. This is always an Armored Xyz card. I don't know why that matters, but okay. Wait, is this searchable, actually? Add Armored XYZ cards. Ah, that's why. Okay. You can send 1 water XYZ monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, then target a fish monster in your graveyard with the same name, or with the same level as the rank of that monster. Special summon it. Okay. During your opponent's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can target 1 water XYZ monster you control, equip this card to that monster, send equip spell that gives it 500 attack. So this is just synergy with the Armored XZ stuff, I guess. Alright. So... that's just really weird. Is there a good send off of this? I don't think there is, necessarily. Unless it's a new card. Centurion Chimera. When your opponent activates a monster effect as Chain Link 2 or higher quick effect, you can make the activated effect become your opponent places a Centurion monster from their face-up field or graveyard in their spawn trap zones as a face-up continuous trap, and you cannot special summon Centurion Chimera for the rest of this turn. During the main phase, if this card is a continuous trap, you can special summon this card. But where is this activatable from? Is this activatable from the back row, or would you need the Chimera on the field? This is only usable on things that are chain link 2 or higher. Kind of weird. I would have to like look into this card a little bit more to see how that interaction works exactly. I don't know. It doesn't seem that great because getting a clogged up back row is not nice. So yeah, there's that if you are really going off. If a water XYZ monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Migratory Zeriort. During your main phase, you can detach one material from a monster you control. Then you can special summon a level 3 or 4 water monster from your hand or graveyard. But its effects are negate. Also, it can be treated as a level 5 monster this turn if used for the XYZ summon of a water monster. Wait, what? How are you getting all of these cards into like the graveyard? I've been wondering about that a little bit. I guess with the Armored XZ stuff, you would detach to like either draw a card or do your searches, I suppose. Alright. So, do we have a way to add this, or is this just an extender? This would need a Water XZ specifically. So you would need a starter, then you would have this in hand, I guess. Alright, and then what would this extend into? This thing is a level 5, so presumably you have to make a level 5 with this, because otherwise your levels don't really match up, unless you have another monster somewhere. So, let's say I normal summon, uh, I guess, uh, Buzzsaw Shark special summons a guy, we make like a rank 4 or something, and detach a guy for whatever, summon Zeriort, and then we bring back the water monster we used in this case, then we have to make a rank 5 of some sort. So in this case, I think we would probably have to do like a Drake Shark, I think, maybe? But can we use it to make this? No, we can't. I don't know. Neither of these are rank 5s. What rank 5 are you, Nathan? Like Shark Fortress or something? No, this doesn't do anything. Alright. Maybe it's like Nash Knight, actually. That makes a lot more sense. I guess, yeah. Alright. Hydro Jet Shark. If a Water XYZ monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, but you cannot special summon Hydro Jet Shark for the rest of this turn. So that includes from the graveyard. Weird. Okay. You can only use one of the following effects of Hydro Jet Shark per turn, and only once that turn. During your main phase, you can send a fish, shark, monster, or an XYZ spell trap from your deck to the graveyard. I think there was some good targets for this. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add a Aqua Jet card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Aqua Jet. Add a Aqua Jet card. Aqua Jet. Don't really see any here. Okay. Alright. Then we have the effect here to send a fish. So I guess at the very least, for fish shark monster, we can send Crystal Shark, which would allow you to make like a rank 4. So that's something. And then the other thing is an XYZ spell trap from your deck to the graveyard. This I think could be used to send either XYZ full armored XYZ, or there was one other card. Was it not a rank up? I thought there was like some kind of rank up vaguely related. I guess not. That might be the only thing that's really worth sending. But you can add it back to your hand. Actually, wait, yeah, you can add XYZ cards back to your hand with the rank 7. So you could add like a lot of things actually, just any of these really. Which is kind of interesting in terms of the spells or traps. So you could do like XYZ import and add it. Yeah. Alright. That's something. That's actually not that bad, I guess. Heavy polymerization. New poly. Okay, fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using 3 or more monsters from your hand or field as material. So you must use that many bodies. You can also banish monsters from your extra deck as material up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, but you lose LP equal to the total attack of monsters banished this way when the monster is fusion summoned. Wait, what? That's weird. Oh, I can't think of anything that requires this, like this many materials. And it specifically banishes the monsters, so you can't trigger like certain graveyard effects. This is from hand or field, so if I were to use this to summon, well, it couldn't be Guardian Chimera because Guardian Chimera requires you to use from hand and field, I believe, and those are the only locations you can use. So wait, aren't there monsters that? Oh wait, there are monsters that you could technically summon using only um cards from your extra deck that could be useful, like maybe a Zark or something, something like that, right? Oh, that could work, I guess. Wait, it says 3 or more. Oh, so you could use technically. Let's say my opponent controls 6 monsters. I could fuse 6 monsters from my extra deck. So I could make 5-headed dragon with a single heavy polymerization and like a third of my extra deck, which is incredibly dumb, but you could do it, I guess. But that's actually kind of interesting, summoning quintet like that. But alright. Succumbing Song Morganite. For the rest of this duel, apply the following effects. You cannot activate monster effects in the hand. Monsters you control can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. If your monster battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is doubled. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Morganite card from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. Oh, wait, this is kind of like just cool conceptually, like this type of card. Like what this card actually does, I hella hate this card, but you know. So we can use this to just grab Time Turning Morganite as well. Alright. Adds a little bit more consistency to that. This card's pretty good in general. Going back to Primite now. Pay 2,000 life points and declare 1 normal monster card. Name the declared normal monsters and Primite monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle until the end of your opponent's turn. Then if you control no monsters, you can special summon 1 declared normal monster from your deck in defense position. So if I special summon, let's say, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then declared Blue Eyes White Dragon, and let's say it's in attack position, it's still affected by card effects, yes. Then yeah, we can still get OTK'd by Tenpai because they can double Trident Dragon do 6k and then attack 3 times for 9,000. And that would be ignoring the fact that you also have to pay 2,000 life points because you're already dead from the first 2 attacks and there will be no third attack. But yeah, alright. If your opponent normal summons a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target 1 normal monster you control or in your graveyard. Banish 1 monster from the field with less attack than that monster. Non-targeting removal. What? Well, that's actually really annoying. Wait, this card's actually kinda good. Just a little bit though. Huh. Strange. Primite Drill Beam. Wait. There's no hard ones per turns on this, so like this isn't that good against Flu, but like if you have multiple normal summons, I guess like if you were playing Blue Eyes and you have multiple normal summons, we could kind of just banish every single normal summon with a Roar if we had multiple Roar in the graveyard. That's goofy, but alright. Probably never gonna come up. Reveal 1 Primite card, or 1 normal monster in your hand except for Primite Drill Beam. Or if you control a normal monster or a level 5 or higher Primate monster, except a token, you can activate this effect without revealing a card. Then target 1 face-up card on the field, negate its effects. And if you do, banish it. So the banish is required, so that's something. During your main phase, if you control a Primate monster, you can set this card from your graveyard. Is this a permanent negate? And if you banish it, so let's say you're unable to banish a card, but you can negate it, that would still be a permanent negate. This card's just randomly very powerful. And this is generic removal as well. And not just the removal, this is also a negate. Huh? Alright. You can only use each effective Primite Drill Beam once per turn. Okay. Virtue Stream. Already took a look at this. Volmonica Hereditaire. So just an Omni negate, yeah. And then it has some kind of recycling effect that allows you to build a little bit of advantage. Nothing like too amazing. Suru Puru Prune. Now we're finally getting to the. I don't even know how to describe these cards really. If this card is in your hand, you can target a water monster in your main monster zone, destroy that monster you control, and if you special summon this card to the zone that monster was in, then you can destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls in this card's column. Huh. This can be used to out some floodgates. Not particularly useful against like stun per se, but that's for sure interesting. This is a level 2 Aqua Water Monster. I don't really see super good usage out of this. And since it's a monster, it's very like easy to somewhat negate. Blue Eyes in particular can't do anything about this card, so we could use this to kind of destroy True Light, right? This all resolves as one effect, I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. Because this activates entirely in hand, uh, the Blue Eyes Omni, it just doesn't work against this, which is amusing, somewhat. Newbie. If you have a monster with 0 attack / defense in your graveyard, so it needs to be both, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Newbie once per turn this way. If this card is special summoned from the hand, you can apply these effects in sequence. Add a light insect monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for Newbie. I have no idea what light insect monsters you could possibly be wanting to add, but there's no restriction on the light insect monster in question. It just has to be a light insect monster. Okay. Place one of your traps that is banished or in your graveyard on either the top or bottom of the deck. Not particularly useful, honestly. Alrighty then. I guess that this is meant to be paired in conjunction with the other card that looks kind of similar. Don't remember the name, but okay. Emblema Salvation. Bash one face-up Centurion monster card from your spell and trap zone, then target one card your opponent controls, bash it. That's pretty decent. If this set card in its owner's control is destroyed or banished by opponent's activated effect, you can place 2 Centurion monsters with different names from your hand, deck, graveyard, enter banishment in your spell and trap zone as face-up continuous traps. So the first part of this, it says to banish a face-up Centurion monster card from your spell and trap zone, which is probably okay, I guess. If you do this like quite later, you can pair this with like MF, so we could be bashing MF, and we can actually reset the MF later with like Auxilla and Legacia, so that's something. And the other thing is if this set card is destroyed or banished by opponent's activated effect, this effect is not actually that useful, is it? Well, it allows you to place 2 Centurion cards, but do you even really want that? I guess the only thing that becomes an interruption at this point is if you were to then like put Chimeria in the back row and then special summon it, I think. That's about all you could do, I think. Off of that effect in particular. Ocean of Regeneration. Target a water monster with 1,000 or less attacking your graveyard. Special summon it, but destroy it during end phase. You can just use this every single turn, I guess. Not sure how useful that really is. Alright, Aqua Jet Surface. This is the Aqua Jet card in question, I guess. Special summon a level 4 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster from your hand or graveyard, but you cannot special summon except XYZs. Well, you control that face-up monster. Oh, that's not a full like turn lock like some of the other ones. If your opponent controls an attack position monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control against 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. So it's just an extender. Alright, that's fine, I guess. Reincarnation Unveiling Male. This is always treated as an Armored Xyz card. An XYZ monster equipped with this card gains these effects. It cannot be destroyed by battle. Interesting. Once per turn, if this card battled this turn, quick effect, you return 1 card equipped to this card to the hand, then immediately after this effect resolves, XYZ summon 1 Water Xyz monster. What? Okay. I guess if you could just do kind of like Link 1 type deal, like a Zodiac type special summon with this may be useful. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can equip this card to 1 XYZ monster you control. Okay. Velmaka Creation. Other new card. Well, you have 6 or more resonance counters on your field. Velmaka link monsters you control gain 1,200 attack, so that would go to 4,200 on the new card. You can only use each of the following effects of Velmaka Creation once per turn. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can immediately after this effect results link summon one Velmaka monster. Okay. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can place resonance counters on one card in your pendulum zone that you can place a resonance counter on, so it has 3 resonance counters. Wait, what? So if you send this card from the... It has to be specifically from hand or field to the graveyard, so it cannot be from deck, which is weird. And then it places 3 resonance counters, so this can immediately trigger the Snatch Steal effect, I guess, if it gets sent. I don't know what is sending this, though. Alright, though. XYZ, Poseidon Splash, another new card. If you control an XYZ monster that has an XYZ monster as material, declare one monster attribute on the field, destroy all monsters on the field with the attribute, except monsters equipped with an equipped spell. Oh, pretty interesting, I guess. You can banish this card from your graveyard and detach one material from a monster you control. Special summon a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster from your graveyard to either field. What? Alright. You can only use one effect per turn, though. But yeah, this gives you follow-up as well, as being torrential that you can use on demand, technically, right? So if we do this with Stealth Kragen, this doesn't trigger Stealth Kragen, I don't think. Stealth Kragen has to be triggered by your opponent. So that's kind of weird in that regard. Alright. Primite Scream. When your opponent would normal or special summon a monster while you control a normal monster or level 5 or higher Primite monster except for a token, negate the summon. If you do, bash that monster or monsters. During your standby phase, if you control a Primate monster, you can set this card from your graveyard to bash it when it leaves the field. Okay, this is actually so hella annoying. So, just if we're looking at just Primate Pier, right? Because I'm assuming it's not going to just be played Pier, but bro, Primate with these cards, your normal summon. Let's say you perform a normal summon, it immediately just gets banished. You can maybe trigger its effect, I guess, and then Primate Scream. This just negates like your next inherent summon as well. So I don't know. Let's say, well, Snake Eye. I think they'd be fine doing normal summon Snake Eye Ash to add Poplar because that's still kind of just going to go through motions and stuff. But I don't know. Let's see. What would be really annoying? Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but still fairly annoying. Alright. Cutter Shark. When a card or effect is activated that targets one monster you control and no other cards, or when a monster you control is targeted for attack while this card is in your hand or graveyard, quick effect. You attribute that monster special summon this card. Wow, that's kind of good actually. If this card is special summon, you can activate this effect except during the end phase of the turn. Add one water monster from your graveyard to your hand except for Cutter Shark. This allows you to play around like Imperm, so you can combo through Imperm. That's about all I think this card does, right? Does this have to be... Yeah, it's hand or grip. Okay. So we can discard this as well. We can send it as well. So that's actually kind of good. I guess. Depending on what you have to tribute, I suppose. And wait a second. I'm just now noticing this is generic. So you can generically send Cutter Shark. So let's say if I'm playing... Well, you wouldn't necessarily be playing this with Snake Eye, but if I was playing this, but let's say Snake Eye or Azumina or just anything really, I could be playing this with well, not to say it's optimal, but we could be playing this with, I don't know, Fire King, Orchist, just literally whatever. Not to say it would really function well together, but you know, if you were to then like try to imprint something, I can Cutter Shark it. So the effect actually will end up resolving still, and I get a body back. So, okay. And then you add a water monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for itself. So this effect really incentivizes you to play it with like a water deck, but you technically don't have to, which is kind of interesting. Momentotlin Akihiran. Another new memento card. Alright. This card is normal or a special summon. You can activate this effect. This turn, level 9 or higher memento monsters can attack directly. Alright. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can target one of your other memento cards that is banished or in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Oh. Even more recycling and grinding for memento now. Cool. If a memento monster in your hand and or face of field is destroyed by a valor card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, so not from hand. So you have to find a way to get this out of your hand, I guess, if it's in there. Which, I mean, you have ways to do. Puppet Shark. Huh. Detach one material from a monster on either field, and if you do, excavate the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose one of them and apply the appropriate effect based on its card type. Also place the rest on top of the deck in the same order. So, wait, what's going on? Detach. Step 1, we detach a material from a monster, and it doesn't have to be on your field. Okay. Then you excavate 4, and if you see a monster or a spell, you can add it to your hand. If you see a trap, you can set it and it can immediately be activated this turn. What? That's weird. I don't know what trap you would be putting. If you're stacking cards, would you do this? I mean, there are no bad hits technically off of Puppet Shark. So that's interesting in that regard. But I don't know about that card. Alright. Declare one normal monster card name. You take no battle damage from battles involving your declared normal monsters or your primate monsters for the rest of this turn. Okay, now we can survive Tenpai. Okay. Maybe. Wait. Let me think. No, wait. Our normal monsters can still be destroyed by card effects, right? Yep. Alright. Let's see. Where were we? You take no battle damage from battles involving your declared normal monsters or your primate monsters for the rest of this turn. Then if you control no monsters, you can special summon one declared normal monster from your deck or graveyard. During your opponent's turn, you bash this card from your graveyard to target one. No hard ones per turns on either effect. Just noticing that. During your opponent's turn, you bash this card from your graveyard, then target one normal monster you control, or in your graveyard, take control of one monster your opponent controls with higher attack than that monster until end phase. So you're telling me if I have like 3 copies of Primite Howl, I can just do this? Just snatch steal essentially 3 of my opponent's cards? I just need like a kind of small normal monster. Primite's kind of interesting in that regard, I guess. They have some things. It depends how powerful it is, because then it just becomes oppressive. And kind of bricky, and kind of sacky, I guess. It'll kind of feel that way. Like, you didn't open any of your 5 pieces of Exodia, and then you hit me with, like, the exact outs to my board. Like, Millennium, kinda, you know? I mean, it's fine, I guess. So, yeah. A lot of new interesting cards, and this makes Shark almost look like interesting enough that I would want to try playing it. I do have some of the XYZ armored stuff, and a lot of these Shark cards do look somewhat interesting. Would like to give them a go. Also, I don't think Zapper Shrimp is like possible to make with like anything in this selection here, which is kind of interesting, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.